The old truck rattled down the quiet street, its rusty blue paint peeling like old skin. Dad's heart stopped as he stared at it from his car window. There, on the side, was a faded sticker, a smiling ice cream cone, just like the one from that horrible day 6 years ago. His hands shook on the steering wheel. No, he whispered. It can't be. The truck slowed at a stop sign, and Dad caught a glimpse of the driver, a man with a scruffy beard and cold eyes. But what made Dad's blood turn to ice was the little girl in the passenger seat. She looked just like his missing daughter, Lily, but older now. Was it her? The truck sped off, and Dad slammed on the gas to follow. His mind raced. After all these years, could this be the clue to find her? But as he turned the corner, the truck vanished into thin air, like a ghost. Dad pulled over, breathing hard. How could it disappear? Was he going crazy? Let's go back to where it all started. It was a sunny summer day in a small town called Maplewood. Lily was only 8 years old, with curly brown hair and a big smile that lit up everyone's day. She loved ice cream more than anything. Vanilla with sprinkles was her favorite. Her dad, Mr. Thompson, worked as a mechanic at the local garage. He was a kind man, always fixing bikes for kids in the neighborhood for free. Lily's mom had passed away when Lily was little, so it was just the two of them. They were best friends. Every Friday after school, Dad would take Lily to the park for a treat. That Friday seemed like any other. The sun was shining, birds were singing, and kids were laughing on the swings. Dad gave Lily $5 and said, "Go get your ice cream, sweetie. I'll be right here on the bench." Lily skipped over to the ice cream truck parked near the edge of the park. It was an old blue truck with a cheerful bell that ding-donged. The man inside had a friendly wave and handed her the cone with extra sprinkles. "Enjoy, little one," he said with a smile that didn't quite reach his eyes. There was a security camera on a nearby lamppost, watching the whole thing. It caught Lily licking her ice cream, happy as can be. She turned to wave at Dad, but then something strange happened. The ice cream man leaned out and whispered something to her. Lily nodded, still smiling, and walked around to the side of the truck. The camera showed her climbing in like she knew the man. But Dad didn't know him. No one did. The truck door closed, and it drove away slowly. Dad looked up from his phone just in time to see the truck turning the corner. "Lily?" he called, standing up. But she was gone. He ran to where the truck had been, yelling her name. The ice cream cone lay melting on the ground. Sprinkles scattered like tiny clues. Panic hit Dad like a wave. He called the police right away. "My daughter, she's missing!" Officers came quickly, sirens blaring. They checked the camera footage and saw everything, Lily with her ice cream, getting into the truck. But the license plate was blurry, and the truck looked like hundreds of others. "We'll find her," the detective promised. They put up posters everywhere. "Missing, Lily Thompson, last seen with ice cream." The whole town searched in woods, by the river, even in empty houses. Days turned into weeks, and hope started to fade. Dad couldn't sleep or eat. He kept replaying that moment in his head. Why did she get in? What did the man say? As months passed, strange things happened. Dad got anonymous notes in the mail. One said, "She's safe, but far away." Another had a picture of an ice cream cone drawn on it. Were they from the kidnapper? The police thought so, but they led nowhere. Dad quit his job to search full-time. He drove to nearby towns, showing Lily's photo. "Have you seen this girl?" People shook their heads. One old lady said, "I saw a blue truck like that once, but it was years ago. It was a dead end." Then, one rainy night, Dad heard a knock at the door. He opened it to find a small package. Inside was Lily's favorite teddy bear, the one she had with her that day. It smelled like vanilla. Attached was a note. "She's waiting." Dad's heart pounded. Who sent this? Was Lily alive? He rushed to the police, but they found no fingerprints. The mystery grew deeper, like a shadow creeping in. Years went by slowly. Dad never gave up. He aged fast, with gray hair and tired eyes. The town moved on, but he didn't. He joined support groups for missing kids' parents, sharing stories of hope and heartbreak. One dad told him, "Sometimes clues come when you least expect." Dad nodded, but inside, doubt crept in. What if Lily was gone forever? Then, 6 years later, on that fateful drive, he spotted the old truck. Following it felt like chasing a dream or a nightmare. As he sped after it, his phone rang. It was the detective from long ago. "Mr. Thompson, we have a lead." A girl matching Lily's description was seen. But before the detective could finish, Dad saw the truck again, parked in an alley. He stopped his car and got out, heart racing. The door of the truck creaked open, and a figure stepped out. It was the ice cream man, older now, with a wicked grin. "Looking for someone?" he asked. Dad froze. What happens next? Dad stood frozen in the dark alley, rain dripping down his face. The ice cream man's grin sent a chill through him, colder than the night air. "Looking for someone?" the man repeated, his voice low and mocking. Dad's fists clenched. Every fiber in his body screamed to run at him, to demand answers about Lily. But something held him back. The man's eyes were too calm, too knowing, like he held all the cards. Behind him, the truck's passenger door was still shut. Was Lily inside? Dad's heart pounded so loud he could barely hear the detective's voice still crackling through his phone, forgotten in his hand. "Mr. Thompson, are you there?" Dad hung up without answering. He couldn't lose this moment, not now. The man took a step closer, his boots splashing in the puddle. "You've been looking a long time, haven't you?" he said. Dad's stomach twisted. How did this guy know who he was? "Where's my daughter?" Dad's voice shook, but he stood tall. The man chuckled, a sound like gravel crunching. "Patience," he said, then turned and tapped the truck door. "Come on out, kid." Dad held his breath. The door creaked open, and a girl stepped out. She was taller, her hair longer, but those eyes, Lily's eyes. Dad's knees nearly buckled. "Lily?" he whispered. The girl looked at him, confused, then shook her head. "I'm not Lily," she said softly. Dad's hope crashed like glass shattering. It wasn't her. But why did she look so familiar? Let's go back a bit. After Lily vanished, the first year was chaos. The police searched every corner of Maplewood and beyond. They interviewed everyone in the park that day, kids, parents, even the hot dog vendor. No one saw anything strange except for one boy who said the ice cream man gave him a free cone but told him to stay quiet about it. The police tracked down every blue truck in the county, but none matched. The ice cream man seemed to vanish as completely as Lily had. Dad spent every night staring at the security footage, pausing on Lily's smile, her wave, the moment she climbed into the truck. He memorized every detail: the man's striped shirt, the truck's rusty bumper, that creepy ice cream cone sticker. The anonymous notes kept coming, each one a stab to Dad's heart. One arrived on Lily's 9th birthday, just a single line. "She's learning new things." Dad tore it up in rage, but he kept the pieces, hoping for clues. The police found nothing, no fingerprints, no postmarks. The teddy bear showing up was the worst. Dad clutched it every night, smelling the faint vanilla scent, wondering if Lily was still holding on to hope like he was. He started seeing the ice cream man everywhere, in crowds, in dreams, in the shadows of his garage. Friends told him to move on, but Dad couldn't. "She's out there," he said, voice breaking. One day, a tip came in. A trucker in a nearby town said he'd seen a blue ice cream truck parked at an old farm. The police raided it, but the place was empty except for a single sprinkle on the floor. Dad kept that sprinkle in a tiny jar, a strange piece of hope. He started driving farther, chasing every lead, no matter how small. He met other parents who'd lost kids, and they shared stories of weird sightings, trucks, vans, even the clown at the fair. "They're connected," one mom whispered, showing Dad a photo of a similar ice cream cone sticker. Dad's obsession grew. He made a map, pinning every sighting of blue trucks across the state. It felt like a puzzle, but pieces were missing. Back in the alley, the girl's words echoed, "I'm not Lily." Dad's mind raced. If she wasn't Lily, why was she with this man? And where was the truck from 6 years ago? The ice cream man smirked like he could read Dad's thoughts. "You think you're close, don't you?" he said. "But you're chasing shadows." Dad stepped forward, anger boiling. "Tell me where she is," he shouted. The man raised a hand, calm as ever. "Careful now. You don't want to scare her." He nodded at the girl, who looked nervous, clutching a small backpack. Dad noticed something, a tiny charm on the backpack, shaped like an ice cream cone. His blood ran cold. Was this a clue or a trick? Suddenly, headlights flashed at the end of the alley. A police car screeched to a stop. The detective from the phone call jumped out, gun drawn. "Freeze!" he yelled. The ice cream man didn't flinch. Instead, he grabbed the girl's arm and pulled her back toward the truck. "You're too late," he said, laughing. Dad lunged forward, desperate to stop him. But the man shoved the girl inside and slammed the door. The truck's engine roared to life. Dad ran toward it, screaming, "No!" The police officer shouted for him to stay back, but Dad didn't listen. The truck peeled out, tires screeching, and vanished around a corner. Dad fell to his knees in the rain, the detective rushing to his side. "We'll get him," the detective promised. But Dad's eyes were locked on something else, a single sprinkle, glittering in the wet alley. It was vanilla, just like Lily's favorite. Was she close, or was this another cruel game? Dad knelt in the rain-soaked alley, staring at the tiny vanilla sprinkle glinting under the streetlight. His heart pounded like a drum. Was this a sign Lily was near, or just another trick? The detective grabbed his shoulder. "Mr. Thompson, we need to move. That truck's not getting far." Dad nodded, but his eyes stayed on the sprinkle. It felt like Lily was calling him, like she was just out of reach. He scooped it up, slipping it into his pocket with trembling hands. The police car siren wailed as they sped off, chasing the truck's trail. Dad's mind spun with questions. Who was that girl? Why did she have Lily's eyes? And why did the ice cream man seem so calm, like he wanted to be seen? Let's rewind to the years after the teddy bear arrived. Dad's life became a hunt. He turned his garage into a command center, walls covered with maps, photos, and strings connecting every clue. The anonymous notes kept coming, each one more cryptic. One said, "She likes to draw now." Another had a tiny ice cream sticker. Dad showed them to the police, but they hit dead ends. He started following ice cream trucks, pulling over every blue one he saw. Drivers got annoyed, but Dad didn't care. "Have you seen my daughter?" he'd ask, holding up Lily's picture. Most shook their heads. One driver, an old man, squinted and said, "There's a guy who used to sell ice cream around here. Strange fella. Disappeared years ago." Dad's heart raced, but the lead went cold. The town started whispering about Dad. "He's obsessed," they said. Poor guy's lost it. But Dad didn't listen. He joined online groups for missing kids, swapping stories with other parents. One night, a woman sent him a blurry photo from a fair in another state. It showed a blue truck with an ice cream cone sticker. "This was taken last week," she wrote. Dad drove 10 hours to check it out, but the fair was gone. The truck vanished. Still, he felt closer. He started dreaming of Lily, always holding an ice cream cone, waving from a truck window. "Find me, Daddy," she'd say. He'd wake up crying, clutching her teddy bear. One day, a new tip came. A gas station clerk said a blue truck stopped by every few weeks, always late at night. The driver bought candy and drove off fast. Dad staked out the station for days, sleeping in his car. Finally, he saw it, a rusty blue truck, just like the one from 6 years ago. He followed it to a dirt road, but it sped up and lost him in the dust. Dad punched the steering wheel, screaming, why was this man always one step ahead? Back in the present, the police car raced through the rainy streets. The detective's radio crackled with updates. Blue truck spotted near the old mill, an officer said. Dad's stomach flipped. The mill was abandoned, a perfect hiding spot. They pulled up to the creepy building, its broken windows like empty eyes. The truck was parked outside, but no one was inside. The detective signaled for Dad to stay back, but Dad couldn't. He crept toward the mill, heart thumping. Inside, it was dark, filled with shadows and the smell of rust. He heard a faint sound like a child humming. Lily? He whispered, stepping deeper. Suddenly, a flashlight beam hit him. Who's there? A voice growled. It was the ice cream man, standing in the doorway. Behind him, Dad saw movement, a small figure in the shadows. Was it the girl from the truck or someone else? The man stepped closer, holding something shiny. A knife? Dad's breath caught. The detective burst in, shouting, "Drop it!" But the man laughed, backing toward the figure. You think you've won? He said. Before Dad could move, the man grabbed the figure, a girl, and ran toward a back exit. Dad chased them, his legs burning. He heard the girl scream, a sound that tore his heart. Was it Lily's voice? They reached a rickety staircase leading to the mill's basement. The man shoved the girl down the steps and slammed the metal door shut. Dad pounded on it, yelling, "Lily!" The detective pulled him back. "We'll get in," he said, calling for backup. But Dad couldn't wait. He found a crowbar on the floor and started prying the door. It creaked open, revealing a dark staircase. A faint light flickered below, and with it, a sound, a soft sob. Dad's heart stopped. He took a step down, the crowbar shaking in his hands. The detective grabbed his arm. It could be a trap, he warned. But Dad didn't care. He had to know. At the bottom, he saw her, a girl, about Lily's age now, curled up in a corner. Her face was hidden, but she held a small drawing of an ice cream cone. "Lily?" Dad whispered. She looked up, eyes wide with fear. Before she could speak, a loud crash echoed above. The ice cream man was back, and he wasn't alone. Footsteps thundered closer, and a new voice shouted, "You shouldn't have come here." Dad spun around, crowbar raised, as a shadow loomed at the top of the stairs. Who was this? And was the girl really Lily? Dad gripped the crowbar, his heart thumping as the shadow at the top of the stairs grew larger. The new voice, gruff, unfamiliar, echoed again. "You shouldn't have come here." The girl in the basement whimpered, and Dad glanced back at her. Her wide eyes met his, full of fear, but also something else, recognition. He wanted to run to her, to ask if she was Lily, but the footsteps above grew louder. The detective shouted, "Stay back, Thompson." But Dad couldn't. He stepped up the stairs, crowbar raised, ready to fight. The shadow moved, revealing not the ice cream man but a woman tall, with wild hair and a scar across her cheek. "You're messing with things you don't understand," she hissed, holding a wrench. Dad froze. Who was she? And why was she protecting the ice cream man? Let's go back a few months. Dad's search had taken him to strange places. One night, he got a tip from an online group. A truck matching the description was seen at a junkyard. He drove there, sneaking past a guard dog. In the moonlight, he found a rusty blue truck, its ice cream cone sticker faded, but unmistakable. Inside, he found a child's drawing of a family, a mom, a dad, and a girl with curly hair. His hands shook. Was this Lily's? But before he could take it, a woman's voice yelled, "Get out!" It was the same woman now standing before him in the mill. She chased him off that night, swinging a wrench. Dad escaped, but the drawing haunted him. Was she part of this? Was she hiding Lily? Back in the mill, the woman stepped closer. "You're stubborn, aren't you?" she said, smirking. Dad's voice shook with rage. "Where's my daughter?" The woman laughed, but it was nervous, like she was hiding something. Behind her, the ice cream man appeared, dragging the girl from the truck. "Enough games," he said. The detective lunged, but the woman swung her wrench, knocking him down. Dad seized the moment, charging at the ice cream man. They crashed to the floor, the crowbar clanging away. The girl screamed, "Stop!" Dad looked up, shocked. Her voice, it sounded like Lily's, but older. Was it her? The woman pulled the ice cream man up, and they ran toward a side door. Dad scrambled after them, but the girl from the basement grabbed his hand. "Don't go," she whispered. "It's not safe." Dad's heart tore in two. He wanted to chase the man, but this girl, could she be Lily? Her face was dirty, her hair tangled, but those eyes, they were so familiar. "Are you?" he started, but she shook her head. "I don't know," she said, tears falling. "They took my name." Dad's breath caught. What did that mean? Suddenly, the mill shook with a loud bang. Dust fell from the ceiling. The detective groaned, getting up. "Backup's here," he said, pointing to flashing lights outside. The ice cream man and the woman were gone, but their truck was still there. Dad held the girl's hand, his mind racing. Was she Lily or another lost child? And who was the woman? As police stormed in, Dad noticed something on the floor, a crumpled note. He picked it up, heart pounding. It read, "She's closer than you think." Dad looked at the girl, then at the note, his hands shaking. Outside, the truck's engine roared to life again. How? It was surrounded. Dad ran to the window, the girl clinging to him. The truck sped off, but something fell from it, a small, glittering object. A sprinkle? No, a locket. Dad's blood ran cold. It was Lily's, the one she wore every day. How did it get here? Was she in that truck right now?